Welcome, people. As you can see, we have another activity today. Today's activity, do you love you? That's right. So, you know what that means? You need something to write with and something to write on. So, if you don't have it already, go ahead and go get it, Queen. Now, once you have your paper, once you have your pen, go ahead and set your paper up with the four columns. As you're doing that, let me explain today's activity and the purpose of it. So, this activity was inspired by Valentine's Day, but the purpose of it was to allow you to see how you define love versus how others may define love. Because too often we're getting involved into relationships or we're seeking to be in a relationship and we have not clearly defined love for ourselves. And so we're just kind of going through the motions. And I want us to really be women who take our life seriously and to really think consciously about the actions that we're choosing and the people that we're allowing in our life, because those actions and those people affect our lives, and those decisions that we're making in those relationships do have long-term consequences. Now, in the first column, it simply says define love. So, in your own words, how would you define love? If I walked up to you and I said, "Hey, could you define love for me?" What would you say? Would you just rattle off the definition that you see in the dictionary, or would you have your own personal definition? Hopefully, you have your own personal definition, because that's what I'm asking you to do here. I'm asking you to put it in your own words, how you define love for yourself. So go ahead and take a moment and really write down and think about what you believe, what you feel is love, how you would define it. Now, once you've done that, go ahead and write down Webster's definition, which is in the second column. Now, I just simply went and looked the definition up in Webster's, and this is what they put. They had three separate definitions. The first one, it dealt with feeling. Okay, it said a feeling of strong or constant affection. The next one had to deal with attraction for another person. Okay, their desires, how they see that person in their eyes. And then the last one had to deal with a person that they see in a romantic way. Basically, they said that they love them in a romantic way. So go ahead and write those definitions down. Now, after you've done that, I want you to look at the definitions side by side. Look at your definition versus Webster's definition. And I want you to see any similarities and any differences. Because again, sometimes somebody else can have a totally different definition of something versus what we feel, what we believe that is. So it's no good or bad. I just really want you to see any similarities or any differences, because again, this activity is about bringing awareness to you and what you think and what you need and what you feel and what you expect and desire in your relationships, so you can be always mindful and keep it top of mind as you're meeting and dating people. Now, our third column is our I am statement. So it says, I am lovable and I practice self love. And it should say by, but I put in. But it should say by letting others know my expectations and my standards, and by holding them accountable. So go ahead and write your I am statement down, because again, affirmations are affirming ourselves, and I always want you to be thinking about yourself in a positive light, in a positive way. So again, write it down, and always remember to be mindful of how you speak to you and how you think of you, because how you speak to you matters and how you think of you matters. That energy, those expectations, those feelings, they show up in the world whether we realize it or not. So go ahead and take a moment and write your I am statement. Now, once you've done that, I want you to take a moment and to really think about any love violators you may have in your life. And you may say, love violators? What? Well, remember, at the very beginning, I asked you to do what? I asked you to define love. So we're not looking at what Webster said. We're looking at what you said. Now, you can also consider what Webster said because, again, they have an accurate definition for love, in my opinion. However, again, when you think about your definition of love, I want you to really look at that and really think, do I have people in my life who do not live up to that, to my definition of love? So those are people who I would say are love violators. They're in your life, but when you look at what you say love is, clearly they're not in line or aligned with what you expect, what you need, what you see, what you feel, what you believe is love. Now, once you have those people in mind, I want you to go ahead and write down at least one commitment that you will do starting today to show those people in your life that you truly do love yourself. Because again, actions speak louder than words. So, of course, I want you to use your words to write this down, but I want you to live this out in your actual life because you have to show people with your actions how to treat you. There's a saying that says you teach people how to treat you. And I do believe that that is true. So go ahead and take a moment and write down how you will show those people that, hey, you're not in line and aligning up with my idea, my expectations of love, and that needs to change. Okay, so hopefully you've done that. I don't want to pause too long because, again, this is YouTube, so you're free to pause me anytime that you need to. But hopefully, this activity brought some light or shed some light on how you think, on how you view love, and where you currently find yourself, and some things that you may need to change or do. Now, for some of you, you may say, well, I couldn't think of any people who are love violators, so to speak. Well, if you couldn't think of anything or anyone who has violated your standards of love, then I would recommend for you in your commitment statement to just write one down, some ways that you commit to continue showing other people that you do love yourself. As always, I end with a quote, and today's quote is this: when you truly love yourself, there are just some things you won't allow others to do to you. And as always, I'm Coach Sam, and I'm telling you, 24 hours doesn't seem long, but in 24 hours, you could change your life. So go ahead and do something life changing now.